last week. Unlike the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna's can be stored at normal refrigerator temperatures for 30 days. That should help the vaccine get to rural communities. Now, nearly 3 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine will roll out across the country this week. Company leaders say another 2.9 million doses will be shipped next week. U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary says he hopes to have 100 million vaccine doses completed by the end of January, and enough supply to vaccinate everyone who wants one by July. The first person to receive the Pfizer vaccine in Washington state was an ICU nurse at Harborview Medical Center.
We've seen a lot of terrible things there. If this can prevent you from ending up in that ICU or prevent you from losing a loved one, I think it's just super important.
500,000 frontline workers in Washington are in the first group eligible to get the vaccine. The next group to get the vaccine will be long-term care facilities. By summer, the general public is expected to be able to receive the vaccine. For the latest information on the COVID-19 vaccine, you can text the word vaccine to 509-448-2000.
8:05 now on your Wednesday morning. Time for your morning rush. More news in less time. The Spokane Chiefs hockey season is delayed, and this is because of public health restrictions and player health and safety. The Western Hockey League announced the 2020 and 2021 WHL regular season will no longer start on January 8th. The Board of Governors will meet in January to consider possible new start dates. According to Bloomberg News, people are leaving big cities, and Seattle has made it onto their list. Their report suggests that even though the city is gaining in population, it's also losing in population at the same rate. Other cities losing population include Dallas, Texas, and Tampa, Florida, but the top city gaining population right now is Austin, Texas. The state attorney general has announced over $100,000 in fines for companies that are accused of not doing enough to keep vaping products out of the hands of children. 5 companies will be fined and forced to change to comply with the state's age verification law. That's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Dana Marie.
And still ahead on Up with KREM, a remark by Washington's state superintendent is gaining some attention online this morning.
He's struggling like hell right now.
Coming up, why remarks like this would have sent him to detention.
And we are looking at temperatures climbing as we head into the afternoon. 40 degrees later today and even warmer this weekend.
And this morning, KREM is launching its first ever true crime podcast, and it's hosted by our very own Jen York and Taylor Vido. This morning, they're giving us the first exclusive look at the series. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Joshua. Good to see you and good to see everyone at home. One Foot in the Grave follows one of the most talked about stories this year from right here in the Inland Northwest. Now we take a deep look into the lives of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, as well as the disappearance of 2 of her children. Now there is so much more to this story that you have not seen here on TV. So this morning we are giving you the exclusive first listen.
Now, at the surface level, it centers around newlyweds appearing to enjoy their new life together, but it quickly falls apart with a mystery surrounding the disappearance of 2 children and a string of suspicious deaths and possible links to doomsday. Now, there was no sign of life from the kids, but also no sign of death. And the couple, well, they aren't talking. But as investigators would later learn, it's a case that speaks volumes without ever saying a word. This is One Foot in the Grave.
Well, my co-host Taylor Vido joins me after the break to talk about your next binge-worthy podcast. We're talking about what we learned while recording and, of course, where you can listen today. That's all ahead on the CW22.
Research shows people remember commercials with nostalgia. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's one that'll really take you back.
Wow!
What'd you get, Ryan?
It's customized home insurance from Liberty.
Yeah, here's a level for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mic check.
And what did you get, Mike?
I got a bike.
only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
How would COVID vaccines work in your body? Well, I have 60 seconds to tell you 3 things you should know. Ready? Number 1, getting the immune system in shape. A vaccine is basically a training session for the immune system. Vaccines teach the immune system to look for the key features of a virus. So, when a virus does show up, it's ready to fight it off. Number 2, vaccine, meet virus. The vaccine gives your body a plan to recognize the virus. Then your immune system starts preparing by making antibodies, or fighter cells, that stay in your blood as protection in case the virus tries to invade. What this means is you get immunity against the disease without having to get sick first. Number 3, community immunity. When enough people's bodies know how to fight off a virus, it has nowhere to go. That slows the spread. When people get a vaccine, we're able to stop the spread quicker and get a little closer to ending this pandemic. That's basically how vaccines work. And that is 60 seconds.
Does your truck bed look tired and worn out? Or are you just looking to get the best protection for your truck bed? Well, Bullhide Liner can help. Bullhide Liner has been helping customers just like you for nearly 30 years. No matter what condition your truck bed, Bullhide Liner will make it look like new. Have less maintenance and more longevity by calling 509-532-9007 for a free estimate on your trucks. Visit our website, www.bullhideliner.com, to see examples of our quality work.
This Encore GX is perfect for driving around town or navigating a parking spot. This Becker Buick Encore GX is a terrific value with a modern cabin design and plenty of power from a turbocharged engine. It's loaded with tech features such as a sizable touchscreen, smartphone integration, a 360-degree parking camera, and a digital rear view mirror. See and learn more about the Encore GX at Becker Buick GMC, where you'll always be treated like family.
Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be.
No matter how you celebrate this year, make this holiday extra special with a gift from Pandora Jewelry.
You're watching Up with KREM.
Oh boy, well, true crime fans, listen up. You can get your fix on the go with a new KREM 2 podcast. It looks into one of the most shocking and bizarre cases that happened here in the Pacific Northwest in recent history. Our very own Jen York and Taylor Vito are behind the podcast called 1 Foot in the Grave. Good morning to both of you. Tell us what to expect.
Well, hi, Tim. Thanks for having us on here, and thanks for bringing us here, and good to see everyone on the morning show. It's been a minute. Our regular viewers here on Up with KREM, they've tracked the story with us over the course of the past year. Lori Vallow is a name many of you at home are now familiar with. Her 2 children disappeared about 1 year ago this month, but only to turn up dead earlier this year in southern Idaho. But there is so much more to this case. We simply just can't get to it all on TV.
Yeah, Jen, and you know, some people would say this case is cut and dry, but as we found out, not everything as it appears. And as you'll find out, this case definitely has a lot of twists and turns.
Please, please step up, call authorities, call the fire station.
It's a story that at times almost plays out like a movie.
Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
Lori Vallow, a mother from Rexburg, Idaho, is facing serious charges after authorities discovered the bodies of her kids bound and buried on her husband's property.
That husband, Chad Daybell, is facing charges too. It started more than 1 year ago when 2 of Vallow's children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow, disappeared. Authorities asked Vallow for help, but she did not cooperate. But in the midst of that search for her kids, she tied the knot with Chad Daybell. He is an author writing books with religious undertones about the end of the world. But this case does not appear to manifest from thin air. In 1 Foot in the Grave, we explore Vallow's upbringing and checkered history. In January 2019, a friend says she begins to act strangely, saying she believes she has superpowers. And as it turns out, this is not her first experience with police. The last involving threats of attacks from an out-of-world being.
Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow.
Charges are serious for Vallow and Daybell. In this podcast, we explore similar cases from Idaho where capital punishment is legal. It includes a mother, considered a family annihilator, who now sits on death row. Experts weigh the legal possibilities of how Vallo's case will play out in court.
The Daybell case, for example, has a lot of religious overtones or undertones, or jurors may be unwilling to judge the case fairly because of religious beliefs.
And you can binge all 4 episodes of One Foot in the Grave right now. To get those episodes, just head to our website, KREM.com, and you'll see a story there where we recap each episode as well. So really exciting. It's been quite the project.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I'm going to get the popcorn ready. I am so excited to stay inside and listen to this. Taylor, I do want to ask you, you've been covering this story for several months, close to a year now. You cover Idaho. Tell us what's something that the media didn't necessarily cover that you uncovered during this podcast project.
There's been a lot of great reporting across the country and especially in Idaho on this story. One thing that I think was unique was we talked with a law professor at the University of Idaho about this case, and especially now that the trial for Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell is going to be looming in 2021. We just talked about Idaho, their justice system. Again, it's worth making mention that capital punishment is still legal. It's still around in Idaho, and there's actually a woman on Idaho's death row who was convicted of being a family annihilator, killing her husband and 2 kids. Now, again, Lori Vallow isn't technically charged with that as for now, but we made some comparisons there, and we talked with legal experts just kind of looking at how this could play out in court.
Looking forward to this. And Jen, one more time, tell us how people can listen in if they want to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, if you're like me and a true crime fan and a podcast fan, you can binge listen to this right now. To download that, all you have to do is text the word podcast to 509-448-2000. You'll get a link right to your phone where you can listen to all 4 episodes right now. And they will be on major platforms here in the next few hours or across the next day or so as well.
All right, thank you both for your hard work. All right, Jeremy Legoo is in now to tell us if today is good podcasting weather. Jeremy, sounds like it might be a little rainy, I hear.
Tim, every day is good podcasting listening weather. You don't actually have to stay inside. You can take your phone with you, attach some headphones, and just listen while walking down the street. And you don't have to bundle up as much today because temperatures are already quite warm. We're above freezing across a good chunk of the inland northwest. However, if you head up and over some of those mountain passes, it's kind of nasty. Cold temperatures and snow are going to continue throughout the day today, but even some refreezing of what we saw yesterday made for icy spots early on this morning. Our cloud cover is starting to work its way into Spokane. It's thick, low-hanging clouds, and those come before our next round of showers. Those showers will arrive just in time for the evening commute. By 3 o'clock, it's light sprinkles. By 5, it's heavier rain. By 9, it's a full-on soaker as we scoot through the remainder of the evening. Now, when we're talking rain, it's not just today, it's tomorrow, it's heading into the weekend. We are in a pattern that's storm after storm after storm. We could call it a parade of storms. 1.5 inches of rain falls in Spokane in the next week. You head over to Idaho, some locations picking up close to 2 inches of rain. You got to go up to almost 4,000 feet to find the snow in the coming days. That's because our temperatures are on the warm side. Up to 40 here in town today with rain returning this afternoon. Some scattered showers tomorrow, 41 degrees. Friday, more showers, 38. And rain continues this weekend as temperatures soar to near 50 degrees by Sunday, along with some gusty winds.
Love Local, proudly sponsored by STCU.
Spiceology went through a pivot.
Hey.
We made the decision that we needed to focus 100% of our energy on consumers. Love Local means exactly what it says. It's supporting your local businesses and helping them grow, helping them create more jobs, and building a more vibrant Spokane and Inland Empire.
Live, learn, love local. Visit KREM.com for a local business directory and enter to win a gift card to a featured local business. STCU proudly sponsors Love Local.
The city of Spokane Valley is a great place to work, to live. What the park brings to the valley is the largest industrial park of its kind between Seattle and Minneapolis. We've got a total of 5 million square feet. We're We've always believed it's right in the center of everything. It's an economic engine. Working with the city of Spokane Valley is awesome. Spokane Valley is obviously growing, a tremendous opportunity for a lot of businesses to locate here.
You know what? It's time. Time for some toe curling, hair flying, laugh like a kid fun. Time for family, friends, and smiles as big as the beautiful wide open vistas. It's time for a luxury condo just a stroll away from water slides and 80 degrees. And a gondola ride away from 800 feet of magic carpet tubing and 1,600 acres of snow rider heaven. You know what? It is time. Time for Silver Mountain. Go to your happy place.
It's my 410, no excuses on game day, migraine medicine. It's Ubrelvy for any time, anywhere migraine strikes without worrying if it's too late or where I am. One dose of Ubrelvy works fast. It can quickly stop my migraine in its tracks within 2 hours, relieving pain and debilitating symptoms.
Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Most common side effects were nausea and tiredness.
Migraine hits hard. Hit back with Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
Arby's, 2 for $6. Every day. Chicken, beef, euros. 2 of those things for just $6. Arby's, we have the meats.
You're watching Up with KREM.
All right, buckle up for this one, folks. Police are sworn to protect and serve their communities, and doing so means that they need to be ready for anything. Fast forward to this free-range chicken in Boise who made a daring midday escape from a coop, which went so well, it's now being considered poultry in motion. There's one. Thankfully, in this tense situation between police and the chicken, things ended peacefully without anyone's feathers getting too ruffled.
They always tell you when you're sitting out there in your patrol car to expect the unexpected and, keep your head on a swivel and so nobody will sneak up on you. And probably the last thing I expected to happen was have a chicken jump up on the hood of my patrol car.
So the chicken just wanted to say hi, that's all, right?
Apparently so, yeah. At one point it was under my supervisor's car, and so we kind of chased it out from under there because we didn't want to run it over. And so I knew it was in the area. But next thing I know, it jumped up from the bumper onto the hood of my car, and I don't know if it knew I was in there or not, but it came right up to the windshield and was kind of checking me out a little bit. You know, as a trained observer, I figured nobody's going to believe this is happening unless I get some pictures and some video, so I did.
Did she make any messes?
No, she was very well behaved. I'm guessing she was pretty housebroken. I didn't invite her into the patrol car. I didn't want to take my chances. She kind of did a little tightrope walk on my windshield wipers for a little bit, but I didn't think it would be appropriate for me to turn them on while she was there, so I just let her fly off. She was wandering around again in one of the neighbors' yard when we eventually left the neighborhood, so she was fine.
She was a free-range chicken then?
I'm thinking so, yeah. She was kind of like neighborhood watch for that area.
I don't think I could say anything to properly do that story any justice. So instead, we'll just take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Up with KREM.
Want to see Christmas lights near you? Open up the KREM 2 app and tap Near Me. Enjoy all the great light displays from your home or plan your own tour. Experience a little holiday magic on the KREM 2 app. The Storm Tracker 2 team is tracking winter storms, warning you ahead of time.
This is the heavier snowfall.
We're on the roads, showing you conditions.
Take it easy, it is pretty slushy out there.
With the immediate information, when winter storms hit, turn to KREM 2 News.
Mom, I'm finished.
We pray each day, may you come home and be
One more?
okay. For now, we wait for you to come home.
Was the holiday season, and as is often the case, magic was found in an unlikely place. Molly tried her best to make introductions. Dad couldn't see past his grown-up assumptions. But thanks to fresh ham and warm apple pie, Dad was finally able to see with fresh eyes. To every baker, sauteer, and fryer, happy holidays to all from your pals at Fred Meyer.
For skin as alive as
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Settle for silver. 7 moisturizers, 3 vitamins, 24-hour hydration. Gold Bond. Champion your skin. For skin that works as hard as you do. Don't settle for silver. 7 intense moisturizers to help stop dry skin before it starts. Gold Bond Healing Lotion. Champion your skin.
COVID-19 can find you here. When you're just trying to celebrate. It can find you here. When you're with your closest friends. Or even here. When you're spending time with family. Wear a mask. Stay 6 feet apart. Don't host gatherings, even in your own home. Protect the people you love.
There is more good news on the vaccine front today in the fight against the coronavirus, as the FDA says they are one step closer to potentially getting Moderna's vaccine, and of course they say it is highly effective. New data released confirms the vaccine is more than 94% effective in preventing COVID-19 and does appear to be on track for that same emergency use authorization that Pfizer received last week. Now, unlike the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna's can be stored at normal refrigerator temperatures for 30 days. That should help get the vaccine to rural communities. Jeremy?
You know, we are looking at, oh, there we go. Hey, we are looking at rain returning to the forecast later on today. Temperatures climbing to up near 40 degrees mean that rain stays in the forecast not just today, but tomorrow. In fact, by this weekend, it's temperatures knocking on the door of 50.
Well, in a meeting with Washington State Superintendent, he used the word that would get most students landed in the principal's office. Lawmakers say Chris Rakedahl was only saying what most parents are feeling about remote learning.
I've got a son failing 2 classes he's never failed in his life. He's taken AP classes all 3 years. He's struggling like hell right now because this is a system to teach a kid in. This instructional model does not work for a lot of kids, period.
Rakedahl is not calling for a statewide return to in-person learning. He does say that would lead to a lot of new COVID cases, but he did ask lawmakers to give his office more authority, like the ability to disperse state funding to districts. And those lawmakers disagreed. I'll send it over to you, Jen.
All right, Dana Marie, thank you so much. Well, looking ahead, KREM 2's first podcast, One Foot in the Grave, is now out. It tracks the investigation into the disappearance and deaths of Lori Vallow's children.
Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great.
Now, it's a story you are familiar with at home. We've tracked it over the course of the past year right here on Up with KREM. But up ahead on the CW22, we explore what you don't know about the case. And it may have you second guessing what you think might have happened.
Also coming up this morning, millions of Americans say they are skipping holiday travel this year. Coming up on the CW22, how many Washingtonians are staying home for Christmas and how that could affect you if you are still planning to travel. All that and more coming up as Up with KREM continues on the CW22. We'll see you back there.
When it comes to your special moment, make sure you mark it with the Veragio engagement ring. Tracy Jewelers, marking moments since 1950. Spokane Valley Mall. Casa de Oro.
This is a pretty view. I know.
Fairfield Inn.
Hi, Scooter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're welcome.
And shop the Greater Valley. Thank you.
Let's call.
Kitty threw another log on the fire and smoke poured into the room.
Hi.
Choking, she ran outside. Liz was walking by. Liz, I need a new stove. Where did you get your stove? I bought my stove at Quality Stoves.
Okay, sounds good.
A selection of low-pi and fireplace extraordinary gas, wood, and pellet stoves. Kitty jumps in her car and goes to Quality Stoves. Kitty cannot help but squeal at their selection of fireplaces, stoves, and the cash deals going on now at Quality Stoves. Don't break the bank and visit Quality Stoves today.
I honestly didn't take COVID seriously. I felt a mask wouldn't really protect me. Then I got sick. It completely knocked me out. I was out for weeks. My family was terrified. COVID isn't just a flu. COVID is no joke. Now I choose to wear a mask to protect myself and protect others. So hopefully other Idahoans don't have to experience what I did.
When it comes to your special moment, make sure you mark it with the Viraggio engagement ring. Tracy Jewelers, marking moments since 1950.
Travel is expected to pick up for Christmas. This goes against the CDC recommendation. Now, if people do decide to travel, AAA put together a list of tips for you to stay safe as possible.
Well, the best time of year is here, a time for giving. But this year, a local tradition called the Santa Express had to change their kid-friendly shopping experience.
It's a weird world that we live in, but we're pretty proud of this pivot that we made, and hopefully families are excited.
Well, their pop-up shop is now online. How you can support next.
And we've got a warm start to the day. Temperatures above freezing across a good chunk of the inland northwest. I'll let you know what that means as a storm targets the region.
Up with KREM begins now.
The Spokane City Council voted to purchase 4 Model Y Teslas for the police department. This morning, we asked you, how do you feel about seeing our men and women in blue riding in a Tesla? And this is what you had to say. Right now, our Twitter poll saying the majority, 50.8% saying no, it's too expensive, while it's split between the other two options, yes, good for the environment, others saying I don't care. We've also asked you to send in your comments to our Zip Whip line, our texting line, 509-448-2000. Someone said I would vote no, hire police officers instead. Another person saying too expensive, while another person saying, what does it cost a Ford Explorer police cruiser? I don't know that they drive Ford Explorers in our area, but good questions, and all questions that we'll look into as this story continues to move on. But yeah, a lot of mixed reviews. Some people think it might be a little bit cool, but others may be saying too expensive. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
You know, very similar to a lot of things, I think we don't actually know it's too expensive until we know what the counter cost was. What were they paying for cars before? How long were those cars on the road, driving, oil changes, you name it. There's a lot that goes into knowing if it's actually, quote, too expensive.
Yeah, relative expensive for sure. I think there's definitely the argument to be made that Teslas in general are just expensive cars for the average person. So yeah, but definitely, is it expensive for the city in comparison to what they're already spending? So we'll look into that. Okay, so let's get a check of the forecast now with Jeremy. It is hump day, Jeremy. We are halfway through the work week.
We've made it. We made it halfway through the work week, believe it or not. We're here. We've done the hardest part. That's getting up this morning. And as you head out the door, if you're down low, if you're in one of those areas like Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Sandpoint, temperatures are warm enough that you don't have to worry about too much ice on those roads. Maybe a little slush still left over from yesterday. But that's kind of about it. Wenatchee and Moses Lake might get a little bit of freezing, and as you head up and over some of those mountain passes, you could find some slick spots very well following yesterday's round of moisture and cooling temperatures. Right now, we've got some thick cloud cover overhead, and expect that to kind of stick around. We'll see showers develop later on today. Those happen just in time for this evening's commute. So it's going to be dark, it's going to be rainy, and it's going to be slow. Allow some extra time as you head home from work and just kind of take it easy. The rain sticks around overnight. Tomorrow we get another shot of it as we scoot through the middle part of the day. And rain really just kind of stays in the forecast. I wish I were telling you it was snow, but with temperatures up near 40 degrees today, it's all rain. In fact, as we head to the weekend, we're getting even warmer. I've got a rainy, warm forecast detailing for you coming up. when I take a look.
We'll take a closer look with you here in just a few minutes, Jeremy. It is 8:33 right now, and in the past week, we've heard reports of 2 families saying their dogs were shocked while walking around in downtown Spokane. Let's check in with Nicole Hernandez, who joins us live to tell us more about where it happened and what we know about what happened. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Joshua. So it's this junction box right here, right along Spokane Falls Boulevard in the plaza here, that a family from Peaceful Valley says actually shocked their dog, Teddy. They said that Teddy came up, stood on top of this box, lifted his leg, and that's when he got shocked.
He just started moaning and barking, and Amy went to grab him, and he bit her, and he was just howling in pain.
Teddy's family said they came forward about their story after seeing a different KREM story about another dog who was shocked just down the street from this spot. They said as soon as it happened, they called Spokane's 311 hotline. The city said they did come out with the Vista, but didn't find any power issues in the area. The city streets department said these incidents are very rare, saying the city does not know why these shocks are happening. The city does work on these boxes often, though, and says they are ready to respond if this happens again. Now, you might remember something similar happening about a year ago to dogs as well, or to one dog as well, but that had to do with the heated sidewalks and is different from what's happening with these junction boxes. In Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Nicole, thanks so much. In their last meeting of the 2020 year, Spokane City Council officially approved the name change of Fort George Wright Drive. It will now be called Wistox Way. The name honors women warriors of then and now. The quest of removing Colonel George Wright's name from this road has been no easy task. There's been protests, petitions, and people using their voice to make change.
The Red Nation student organization at Spokane Falls Community College tried to make this happen back in the 90s.
Less than 24 hours after Wistox Way made its official, Spokane County Golf announced that they would change one of their courses' names to Laytok Creek Golf Course. They say the decision was made after a very intentional process to consider historical and/or cultural significance of a property. Dana Marie.
We're taking a look at what's trending this morning. You know, as Christmas and New Year's approaches, more people are going to start traveling despite the CDC's request not to and recommendations. Now, from December 23rd to January 3rd, millions of Americans are expected to travel this year, and that's according to AAA and their numbers. This year, AAA says 84.5 million Americans will travel for the holidays. That does seem like a really big number, but that's actually 34 million people less than traveled last year nationally. Now that number includes 626,000 fewer Washingtonians traveling this year. A AAA Washington public relations manager said, quote, while Thanksgiving is traditionally spent gathering with friends and family, the year-end holidays are when Americans often venture out for longer, more elaborate vacations, and that will no longer be the case. So for those who are making that personal decision to travel this year, it's important to understand the risks that you're taking and also know how to protect yourself and others. So here are some tips before you go. First, definitely plan ahead. Check with state and local officials about restrictions at your travel destination. This includes what is expected once you return home. Second, follow public guidelines and guidances. The CDC recommends a COVID-19 test 3 days before you travel and then 3 to 5 days after you travel. Plus, make sure to follow distancing guidelines and wear a mask, of course. Third and finally, verify before you go. Check with hotels and car rental companies to make sure they're open and learn what restrictions they have in place.
Meanwhile, COVID-19 vaccines are being administered across the nation this week, including right here in Washington, and it is progress. But the list of things we don't know about the coronavirus pandemic continues to change and grow, and that includes when it actually began. This morning, our Verify team looked into a claim about the virus being in the U.S. long before we first thought.
The first case of COVID-19 is believed to have been found in China on November 17th of 2019. The first American with COVID-19 was diagnosed on January 20th in Washington state.
But did it really take 2 months to reach our shores? And if not,
how long had it been spreading in the U.S., and how many people got infected but didn't know what their illness was. One viewer was concerned about that when he asked me about a claim that 2% of blood donations in California from December 2019 tested positive for COVID-19 antibodies. Our source for this is the journal Clinical Infectious Diseases. It published a study this fall in which researchers looked at thousands of archived blood samples donated to the American Red Cross. They came from several states from December 2019 or the first half of January 2020, all before the first American case was diagnosed. The California donations were from the middle of December 2019. Of the 1,149 samples that were retested, 23 had COVID-19 antibodies, which is 2%. So we can verify the claim is true. Additionally, around 2% of the samples from Oregon and Washington taken from that same week also tested positive. And more than 1% of the samples that were retested from the Midwest and Northeast during the first half of January also tested positive for COVID-19 antibodies. Overall, around 5% of Californians have tested positive during the pandemic. But if 2% already had it way back in December of 2019, the number of people who've actually been infected is likely much higher than we'll ever know.
Coming up this morning, many of us have had to switch up our traditions this year, and the Santa Express event is no exception.
I think it's super fun, and it's given us such an insight into these kids' minds that we, like, even in almost 30 years of doing this, that I don't think we would have had before.
We talked with the kid-friendly shopping experience that raises money to help struggling families.
And we're up near 40 degrees later on this afternoon as rain rolls back into the region. I'm going to talk a warm forecast and let you know how much rain you can expect in the coming days.
One more?
Locally owned, locally loved. Medicine Man Pharmacy.
Medicine Man Pharmacy has been serving people in North Idaho since 1978 with prescriptions and healthcare products.
We have competitive prices and a wide variety of services. We accept most insurances, and we can also help you transfer your prescriptions here.
At Medicine Man, we care about you
and your health.
Grins and Giggles Family Dentistry are the smile experts. Grins and Giggles gentle touch and professional staff will make you feel right at home. Our gentle sleep option makes your visit stress-free. Moms and dads who want the very best dental service for yourself and your kids, choose Grins and Giggles. Take advantage of this year's insurance dental benefits before they run out. If you don't have insurance, call now and receive up to 50% off on most dental procedures. Grins and Giggles Dentistry in Spokane Valley. Most dental insurance accepted.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my
You're watching Up with KREM.
After decades of bringing Christmas joy to families, the Vanessa Behan Crisis Nursery had to switch up their traditional Santa Express event this year. The kid-friendly shopping experience that raises money to help struggling families is now online.
For 27 years, this is what Santa Express looked like.
He loves playing with the figures. We go behind the curtains
and then we could pick out presents for your family member.
It's something 7-year-olds Sean and Michael O'Callahan love doing.
Every year we do it, but this year was a little bit different.
This year, the pandemic forced the pop-up store to close, instead moving virtual.
We had to shop online and they'll pick out the presents for us.
It's super simple. All you have to do is grab your laptop or your phone, have your kids go to santaexpress.org, and then have them fill out the questionnaire online.
So we designed this online shopping list so that the kids could still fill it out with limited parental involvement.
Then the elves at Vanessa Behan take the info and pick out the presents. Families can then pick them up on specific days before Christmas.
I think it's super fun, and it's given us such an insight into these kids' minds that we, even in almost 30 years of doing this, that I don't think we would have had before.
Plus, they're hoping that having the event online will actually help bring in new families. And even if it looks different, supporting Santa Express this year will help keep them up and running for next year.
It's a weird world that we live in, but we're pretty proud of this pivot that we made, and hopefully families are excited.
Excited is an understatement for the O'Callahan twins. And in the end, their favorite part?
To get presents for the people you love.
Spreading that holiday cheer at home and just a bit to us as well.
Merry Christmas.
In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Love that. Well, the online event will go through December 20th this year, ending a little bit early in order to give Vanessa Behan time to pick out everyone's presents. Love how these 7-year-olds are already teaching all of us a lesson in generosity, something we can all take something away from. And again, you can go online to find out how you can help. All right, here's Jeremy Lagoon now with a check of today's Hump Day forecast. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Tim. Hey, if you contact one of those kids, can you have them teach me a lesson in getting my packages in the mail on time?
Are you a procrastinator, Jeremy?
Man, I got boxes
Clock's
that
ticking.
All they need is tape and to go to the post office, and here I am sitting here going, I wonder how long I can push this one off for. So, all right.
Get on it.
I got to get on it. And I should do it earlier today than later today. And here's the reason why. Right now, we are dry and temperatures are above freezing, so roads aren't too bad. Now would be a great time to run to the post office. Don't though. I'm gonna do it right after the show, so you just hold off for a little bit longer. If you got to go up and over any of those mountain passes, just know it's going to be a bit snowy today. Nasty conditions following yesterday's snow and some refreezing overnight. And as we eye our next storm working its way in, it's cloud cover now, but by the evening commute, it's rain. So if you can, get the packages in the mail this morning. That way you don't have to fight the rain as you haul them into the post office or UPS or FedEx, because the rain continues all night long. It'll start to taper off tomorrow, and then we'll get another shot of a quick moving shower tomorrow, so scattered showers stay in the forecast. In fact, it's not just today and tomorrow, it's the week to come. It's each and every day we have a storm and another storm. It's a parade of them working their way in. It's rain down low and snow up high. Here in town, we get over 1.5 inches of rain in the next week. Some places in North Idaho, close to 2 inches of rain. Keep in mind, we're in December. Our normal high this time of year, 32 degrees. We're well above that for the next week, with rain staying in the forecast each and every day. Even a couple of days bringing us a bit of wind.
How to change the way you pizza. Step 1, grab a delicious Papa Murphy's pizza. Step 2, bake. Step 3, chow down on the